This is R1 and 3 Autoethnography with your hosts, Stephen and Levi. Our aim is to share personal stories and provide resources and facts that help to support others and break the stigma and stereotypes.
We want to put individualism into each of the symptoms, like explain how certain things affect our daily lives and be able to share our personal stories on this. So say someone is struggling with these symptoms in their lives and they didn't realize that these symptoms were caused by their mental illness and weren't just how they were.
Hopefully that's what we can do with this podcast.
Yeah. The one time in class I was sitting there licking my knee for some odd reason. I don't know why. I was like 14 or something at the time. Yes, this was like when I was 14. But yeah, you could definitely say I felt I didn't belong, and in some ways I definitely didn't belong. I wasn't the same as my peers. I felt a lot of isolation from them because of how I felt or how I thought certain things, like, or even how they acted compared to how I acted. I was very different in my actions and my inflection, even when I was speaking.
So I always felt like a broken person. Like I wasn't, not that I wasn't trying hard enough. At the time, I felt like I wasn't trying hard enough, but I wasn't doing things the same way as other people did them. I interpreted that. I told myself that I was a failure because other people make things look so easy when I struggle with it.
I had a lot of trouble questioning my sexuality growing up with my OCD because I would often convince myself that I was actually straight and I was confused and lying to myself.
I get in my head around my friends. Like, we can be having a great time, and then I'll think about that one time something awful happened, or like, what if this happened right now? And it can be a very upsetting thought at the time.
It's like I know I have all these things that I have to do and then I just can't do them, which sounds ridiculous because everybody's always like, just get up and do it. Like, you can do it. Just get up and do it. Like, it's not that hard, but it is that hard because I can't. It's like I know I have to do the dishes and I know I have to do this unit plan and I know I have to do my assignments and I know I have to clean my room and I just can't. I just get way too overwhelmed and I can't do any of that stuff and I just sit there.
Yeah, so I have had periods in my life where I harmed myself. I'm like 2 years clean from cutting, and there was a point where I tried to take my own life that thankfully wasn't successful, but
like I have no idea what caused it. I literally just woke up one day and I had a lot of thoughts of self-hate. I had a couple of thoughts of like self-harm. Like I had this weird urge to kill myself, basically.
Well, I was kind of feeling suicidal, and rather than jump off a bridge, I was close to the hospital anyway. I did the most difficult thing I've ever done, which was go to the emergency ward there, and I had to walk up and tell them why I was there, that I was feeling suicidal.
Like, I didn't know anyone that had struggled with mental illness or felt the way I was feeling, so I felt very alone.
I've always felt alone.
And like, do you have thoughts like that where it's not destructive, but at the same time it's just kind of like, I don't know how to put it.
Wishful, whimsical?
Looking for a change, I suppose. Never feeling satisfied with where you are.
Well, I became addicted to alcohol. I needed it, and I used it to become something that I wasn't, and make up for things that I didn't do. It covered the pain. It made me more sociable, until it didn't.
I spent a lot of time looking in the mirror and just micro-analyzing absolutely everything about me.
Sometimes the mental illness flares up, right? And that's hard.
Yeah, and it's difficult to deal with, and it's systemic, right? Everything, it affects every part of our lives.
Every part.
When people learn these things about me, it starts to make a little bit more sense of who I am.
So if you could go back with everything that you know now, what would you tell yourself?
It's okay to feel things. It's okay to be angry or sad or anything really. And that even if life feels terrible and everything's going wrong, it will get better.
Also, it gets better.
It will get better.
Well, probably just thought it was going to get better. And so you should never stop seeing what tomorrow will bring. You never know what's going to happen. So as sad as you can be about today, tomorrow is going to be different, always.
I think the biggest thing is that it's okay to be not like everybody else, you know? It's a part of who you are, and I think we have to learn to accept ourselves, and I think that's the hardest part is, you know, don't worry about everybody else. That part will come, but learn to accept you.
That is my ADHD. I'm sorry that I interrupted you, but I can't really control it that much. Or like, you know,
learn about yourself and be proud when you do.
I would tell myself that, I don't know, being thin and pretty isn't the only thing that matters.
I think I would tell myself that you don't need an answer to every question, and that sometimes it's just best to leave things as they are, and you're not a terrible person simply because you had a thought that you don't agree with. And I think that's the most important part. If you were a terrible person and you were having these thoughts, you would not ask yourself if you're a terrible person.
Every small change does matter.
You know, the first steps are always the hardest.
Like, it's not just like you have to start going to the gym all day, every day, and only eat salads. Like, no. Drinking more water in a day makes a difference. Getting some sleep sometimes makes a difference. And no one cares what you look like that much. Like, as much as you think they care, they do not care. They're probably looking at themselves more. They do not care what you look like that much.
I just think it's important to make sure to tell yourself, like, that you are valid and that you are worth something, and that just because your mind is against you, it doesn't mean that you're not important. And that can be really hard to tell yourself those things and to feel those things. You're important and you matter.
And I think then you have to realize that opening up and showing what's inside does not make you weak. And in fact, I would argue that people who can do that are stronger.
No matter what your struggle is right now, the fact that you recognize it, or the fact that you're even putting in a little effort into it, you're doing great. Okay. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be instant. It's yours. It's messy. But that's okay. We're all learning, right?
And I just, again, it's just a part of my journey, and I just want people to understand maybe me a little bit more and why I have these quirks and all of that.